I affirm
I affirm
that I have recorded
that I have recorded
the audiobook
the audiobook
with my own voice,
with my own voice,
and that this work
and that this work
is my own.
is my own.
I accept responsibility for my role
I accept responsibility for my role
in ensuring the integrity of the work submitted
in ensuring the integrity of the work submitted
by the group in which I participate.
by the group in which I participated.
A Dark Brown Dog by Stephen Crane. A Dark Brown Dog and the accompanying illustrations were published in Cosmopolitan, March 1901. The story was probably written in the summer of 1893, an allegory about the Jim Crow South during Reconstruction. The dog represents emancipated slaves. Students and teachers, check out our useful A Dark Brown Dog study guide to break down the allegory. The story is featured in our collection of dog stories.
As Chais was standing on the street corner, he leaned with one shoulder against a high-board fence and swayed the other to and fro, the while kicking carelessly at the gravel. Sunshine beat upon the couples, and a lazy summer wind spread yellow dust which trailed in cloud down the avenue. Catching truck moved with indistinctness through it. The child stood dreamily gazing. After time, a little dark-brown dog came threading with unintented air down the sidewalk. A short rope was dragging from his neck. Occasionally, he trod upon the end of it and stumbled. He stopped opposite the child, and the two regarded each other. The dog hesitated for a moment, but presently he made some little advances with his tail. The child put out his hand and called him. In an unapologetic manner, the dog came close, and the two had an interchange of friendly pattings and wiggles. The dog became more enthusiastic with each moment of interval, until with his fearful caperings he threatened to overturn the child. Whereupon the child lifted his hand and struck the dog a blow upon the head. The sting seemed to overpower and astonish the little dark-brown dog, and wounded him to the heart. He sank down in despair at the child's feet. When the blow was repeated, together with an admonition in childish sentences, he turned over upon his back and held his paws in a peculiar manner. At the same time, with his ears and his eyes, he offered a small pleasure to the child. He looked so comical on his back, and holding his paw peculiarly, that the child was greatly amused and gave him little taps repeatedly to keep him so. But the little dark-brown dog took his chastisement in the most serious way, and no doubt considered that he had committed some grave crime. For the wrinkled contritely and showed his repentance in every way that was in his power. He pleaded with the child and petitioned him and offered more pleasures. At last the child grew weary of this achievement and turned toward home. The dog was braying at the time. He lay on his back and turned his eye upon the retreating front. Presently, he struggled to his feet and started after the child. The latter wandered in a perfunctory way toward his home, stopping at times to investigate various matters. During one of these pauses, he discovered the little dark-brown dog who was following him with the air of a footpath. The child beat his pursuer with a small stick he had found. The dog lay down and prayed until the child had finished, and resumed his journey. Then he scrambled erect and took up the pursuit again.
On the way to his home, the child turned many times and beat the dog, proclaiming with childish gestures that he held him in contempt as an unimportant dog, with no value save for a moment. Forebeing this quality of animal, the dog apologized and eloquently expressed regret, but he continued stealthily to follow the child. His manner grew so very guilty that he slunk like an assassin. When the child reached his doorstep, the dog was industriously ambling a few yards in the rear. He became so agitated with shame when he again confronted the child that he forgot the dragging rope. He tripped upon it and fell forward. The child sat down on the step and the two had another interview. During it, the dog greatly exerted himself to please the child. He performed a few gambols with such abandon that the child suddenly saw him to be a valuable thing. He made a swift, avaricious charge and seized the rope. He dragged his captive into a hall and up many long stairways in a dark tenement. The dog made willing efforts, but he could not hobble very skillfully up the stairs because he was very small and soft. And at last the pace of the engrossed child grew so energetic that the dog became panic-stricken. In his mind, he was being dragged toward a grim unknown. His eye grew wide with the terror of it. He began to wiggle his head frantically and to vibrate his legs. The child redoubled his exertions. They had a battle on the stairs. The child was victorious because he was completely absorbed in his purpose, and because the dog was very small. He dragged his equipment to the door of his home, and finally with triumph across the threshold. No one was in. The child sat down on the floor and made overtures to the dog. These the dog instantly accepted. He beamed with affection upon his new friend. In a short time, they were firm and abiding comrades. When the child's family appeared, they made a great row. The dog was examined and commented upon and called names. Scorn was leveled at him from all sides, so that he became much embarrassed and drooped like a scourge plant. But the child went steadily to the center of the floor, and at the top of his voice, championed the dog. It happened that he was rolling prostration, with his arm clasped about the dog's neck, when the father of the family came in from work. The parent demanded to know what the blessed they were making the kid high for. It was explained in many words that the infernal kid wanted to introduce a disreputable dog into the family. A family council was held, and this depended on the dog's fate. But he in no way heeded, being busily engaged in chewing the end of the child's dress.
The affair was quickly ended. The father of the family, it appears, was in a particularly savage temper that evening. And when he perceived that it would amaze and anger everybody if such a dog were allowed to remain, he decided that it should be sold. The child, crying softly, took his friend off to a retired part of the room to hobble up with him, while the father quelled a fierce rebellion of his wife. So it came to pass that the dog was a member of the household. He and the child were associated together at all times save when the child slept. The child became a guardian and a friend. If the large folk kicked the dog and threw things at him, the child made loud and violent objections. Once when the child had run, protesting loudly, with tears raining down his face, and his arm outstretched to protect his friend, he had been struck in the head with a very large saucepan from the hand of his father, enraged at some seeming lack of courtesy in the dog. Ever after, the family were careful how they threw things at the dog. Moreover, the latter grew very skillful in avoiding missiles and feet. In a small room containing a stove, a table, a bureau, and some chairs, he would display strategic ability of high order, dodging, fainting. He could force 3 or 4 people armed with brooms, sticks and handfuls of coal to use all their ingenuity to get in a brawl. And even when they did, it was seldom that they could do him a serious injury or leave any imprint. But when the child was present, this scene did not occur. It came to be recognized that if the dog was molested, the child would burst into sobs, and as the child, when started, was very riotous and practically unquenchable, the dog had therein a safeguard. However, the child could not always be near. At night, when he was asleep, his dark-browed friend would raise from some black corner a wildful cry, a song of infinite loneliness and despair, that would go shuddering and sobbing among the buildings of the block and cause people to swear. At these times, the singer would often be chased all over the kitchen and hit with a great variety of articles.
Sometimes, too, the child himself used to be the dog, although it's not known that he ever had what could be truly calling a just cause. The dog always accepted these thrashings with an air of admitted guilt. He was too much of a dog to try to look to be a martyr or to plot revenge. He received the blows with deep humility. And furthermore, he forgave his friend the moment the child had finished, and was ready to caress the child's hand with his little red tongue. When misfortune came upon the child, and his troubles overwhelmed him, he would often crawl under the table and lay his small, distressed head on the dog's back. The dog was ever sympathetic. It's not to be supposed that at such times he took occasion to refer to the unjust beatings his friend, when provoked, had administered to him. He didn't achieve any notable degree of intimacy with the other members of the family. He had no confidence in them, and the fear that he would exploit their casual approach often exasperated him exceedingly. They used to gain a certain satisfaction in underfeeding him. But finally, his friend the child grew to watch the matter with some care, and when he forgot it, the dog was often successfully in secret for himself. So the dog prospered. He developed a large bark, which came moderately from such a small rock of a dog. He set to howl persistently at night. Sometimes, indeed, in his sleep, he would utter little yells as from pain, but that occurred, no doubt, when in his dream he encountered huge, flaming dogs who threatened him direfully. His devotion to the child grew until it was a sublime thing. He waited at his purpose. He sank down in despair at his departure. He could detect the sound of the child's step among all the noises of the neighborhood. It was like a calling voice to him. The scene of their companionship was a kingdom governed by this terrible potentate. The child, but neither criticism nor rebellion, ever lived for an instant in the heart of the one subject. Down in the mystic, hidden fields of his little dog soul bloomed flower of love, fidelity, and perfect faith. The child was in the habit of going on many expeditions to observe strange things in the vicinity. On these occasions, his friend usually jogged aimfully along behind. Perhaps, though, he went ahead. This necessitated his turning around every quarter minute to make sure the child was coming. He was filled with a large idea of importance of these journeys. He would carry himself with such an air. He was proud to be the retainer of so great a monarch.
One day, however, the father of the family got quite exceptionally drunk. He came home and held carnival with the cooking utensils, the furniture and his wife. He was in the midst of this recreation when the child, followed by the dark-browed dog, entered the room. They were returning from their voyages. The child's practiced eye instantly noted his father's death. He dived under the table, where experience had taught him was a rather safe place. The dog, lacking skill in such matters, was, of course, unaware of the true condition of affairs. He looked with interested eye at his friend's sudden dive. He interpreted it to mean joyous gamble. He started to patter across the floor to join him. He was the picture of a little dark brown dog en route to a friend. The head of the family saw him at this moment. He gave a huge howl of joy and knocked the dog down with a heavy coffee pot. The dog, yelling in supreme astonishment and fear, ran to his feet and ran for cover. The man kicked out with a ponderous foot. It caused the dog to swerve as if caught in a tide. A second blow of the coffee pot laid him upon the floor. Here the child, uttering loud cries, came valiantly forth like a knight. The father of the family paid no attention to this calls of the child, but advanced with glee upon the dog, upon being knocked down twice in swift succession. The latter apparently gave up all hope of escape. He rolled over on his back and held his paws in a peculiar manner. At the same time, with his eyes and his ears, he offered up a small prayer. But the father was in the mood for having fun, and it occurred to him that it would be a fine thing to throw the dog out of the window. So he reached down and grabbing the animal by a leg, lifted him, screaming up. He swung him 2 or 3 times hilariously above his head, and then flung him with great accuracy through the window. The soaring dog created a surprise in the block. A woman watering plants in an opposite window gave an involuntary shout and dropped a flower pot. A man in another window leaned perilously out to watch the flight of the dog. A woman who had been hanging out close in the yard began to caper wildly. Her mouth was filled with clothespins, but her arms gave vent to a sort of exclamation. In appearance, she was like a gagged prisoner. Children ran whooping. The dark brown body cast in a heap on the roof of a shed 5 stories below. From thence, it rolled to the pavement of an alleyway.
The child in the room far above burst into the long, dirt-like cry, and tottered hastily out of the room. It took him a long time to reach the alley, because his sight compelled him to go downstairs backward, one step at a time, and holding with both hands to the step above. When they came for him later, they found him seated by the body of his dark brown friend.